I had a massive breakthrough last night. It literally felt like I've been trying to close this door and it's just incredibly heavy and I'm pushing and I'm pushing and I'm pushing and it finally closed and everything clicked into place. I'm going to share my thought process and really my emotional process of what the past 7 months have been like and this epiphany that I had when it comes to creating abundance, wealth, and money. I've been working on my relationship with money for quite a while. I grew up with a very scarcity-oriented mindset. When it comes to money, we always never had enough, or there was a lot of money and then all of a sudden there was like no money, but it always felt very stressful and it was always deeply connected to love. When there was some money, it was like there was more peace, there was more love, it was more relaxed. But when there wasn't, it was a very stressful environment, to say the least. And growing up Christian, there was also this narrative that money is the root of all evil. But now I've realized that it's really good to love money because money is resource, freedom, and choice. So what if you replace those 3 words with the word money? Resources, freedom, and choice is the root of all evil? No. What the Bible is saying there is that when you define wealth as only having access to money and your pursuit of money and money alone trumps your relationships, it trumps your inner peace. We have so many examples of people who are quote unquote successful because they have a lot of money, but they're extremely greedy or they're extremely miserable. And that is personally not the life that I want. And I don't even think it's the life that they want. They've just been sold this lie and they've believed that if they have a lot of money, they're going to be happy. We all know that that's not true. However, we also still know that having access to enough money to give us freedom and choice is better than being broke and poor. It's not one or the other. And a glorification of poverty is just as damaging as a glorification of being extremely wealthy. But I want a life that has it all. I want the most remarkable, incredible, amazing relationships who would speak well of me in any room, and that I would have full confidence that they are on my team. I want enough money to make art at the highest level and not need it to make me money so I'm stressed about it. I want to be able to experience life, experience the world, to travel, to be generous. I want to have time to think and to reflect and to read and to learn instruments and to take care of myself. I want to be the fittest, richest, wisest, most peaceful version of myself that I could possibly be in this lifetime, because I think that that is the point. And unlike my grandmother who grew up in Korea when Japan occupied Korea and she had no food and lived in a grass hut with 6 kids, her life was about survival. Because of her, I can live a life where I pursue life at its fullest to truly thrive. And I intend on doing it, and I will do it. If you're on my channel, you're literally gonna see it unfold before your eyes. Honestly, my life is good right now. I could be content with how my life is. I'm healthy, I have inner peace, I have a lot of amazing things going on, but why not go for more? I think that it is a trap to limit yourself to be content when you could go for more. There is a holy desire that I was given literally from the moment that I was a child to literally expand. And in fact, I describe my purpose in 3 parts. To see my potential realized, all of the potential within me, I want to see it come out in the 3D, to witness my own evolution, just to see how I grow and to bear witness to it and to alleviate the suffering of others. Ideally, I would like for everybody to be thriving. That's the actual goal. But at the very least, to alleviate some suffering for others. That's why we share our stories, to help collapse time for other people so they don't have to make the same mistakes that we've made. That's the whole point of this YouTube channel. That's the whole point of all of my social media. And that's the point of my membership, The Spotlight, so that we could do that in community. If you're interested in joining, the link is going to be in my description. So let's get into the money block. I've heard people say, and I've always known that there's something about love and money that's tied together. And I had this moment the other night where I really feel like God was speaking to me. I came across this one reel of this girl talking about how she manifested her husband and how she's a Scorpio and I'm also a Scorpio. And she said that she had to admit to herself that she was not going to be satisfied with any man unless he was in complete devotion to her, complete obsession with her. And I definitely resonate. And I think that a lot of women have this sense that they want to have someone's complete devotion, even fall for love bombing, because we have this inner knowing that we're meant to be worshipped. We're meant to be somebody who is almost immediately recognized. And so it gets a little bit tricky before we recognize the difference between someone who sees and recognizes us for our goddess qualities versus somebody who is just trying to manipulate us and who's love bombing us. And so I almost heard God say to me, like, this inner voice of like, you're asking for abundance. You're asking for like, my cup runneth over. You're asking for enough money that doesn't just meet your needs, but exceeds your needs. More money than you can even dream of, because you're adding that much value into the world. And I've been brainwashing myself with hanging out with women on the internet who are like, I made $100,000 in a day. Like 50K months is nothing. Like, I've been surrounding myself with entrepreneurs and like mostly female entrepreneurs who have just created a lot of abundance, but it's abundance with a mission and a purpose. It's not just money for money's sake. It's everything: health, wellness, peace, relationships, and money is just a part of that. But it is a part of that. And to say that's not a part of it, you shouldn't want money. Oh, just like be in your third eye and just be at peace with the world. I've already done that. So even if that was what you were supposed to do, which it's not, I've already reached that. So now what? Now what's next, right? If you already have inner peace and relationships and right perspective and a healthy body and you're content, like, then go for more. Go for more. And so I know that a part of my self-development journey is going to be creating a business that's fully aligned, that adds to the world, that's generative to the world, that sales is actually empathy, because it's saying, hey, you have this problem that I've already solved. So I can help you with this solution. I'm literally here to help, and I want to be compensated fairly for the value that I bring. And as I develop and as I grow and as I expand, I'm going to be bringing more and more value, and I want to see that reflected in my 3D. And I heard a lot of people say that self-worth and money are tied, and I'm like, okay, how? Because I feel like I have really good self-worth. I have really high self-worth. But what I have realized is that when you're used to having nothing, like when you're used to being broke, or when you're used to having toxic relationships, then when you have a quarter of your tank filled, it feels like a lot. It feels like you're full because your capacity is so small. So it's really exciting. Like, oh, I made this much money, but it's barely any money, and that there's nothing wrong with that. But as we grow and as we expand and as our self-worth expands, our vessel expands, our ability to contain more love and more money expands. And so I've realized in my relationships recently, if you've watched my last 2 videos, I kind of was talking about this, is that, for instance, my last relationship, I was having such a hard time like fully letting go emotionally, and that's totally okay. You just have to process through it, and you can't judge yourself for how long it takes you to get over somebody. But I finally feel like I energetically broke it off literally last night. Even though, of course, I've let go, I've completely understood why. I, go with God, go with peace. I'm on my own journey. Like, I haven't been looking at his Instagram. Like, I've been so focused on building my mission, but there still was this like little bit of a tie emotionally, energetically to that person. Why am I still tied to this person when I know I don't even want it? I don't want it to work out. I want to move on. Why can't I freaking move on? And also I was at the same time being like, what is wrong? Like, do I have a money block? Or like, why can't I create this abundance? Even though things were moving slowly, I'm like, why can't I quantum leap right now? Like, why can't I just be in this other place? I'm watching all these things. It's like, oh, you need to be in, energetic alignment with them. And I'm like, okay, be in energetic alignment with them, right? Like working on it. This has not been a passive thing, both to grow my business and to break it off energetically. energetically with this person that I was dating. And so I've had a few relationships kind of fall off or break off, and none of them have been my decision. That person that I was dating, it was his decision. Of course, like, we agreed upon it, but he was the one who instigated it. It was his decision. I really didn't feel like I decided until literally last night. And then I had a long-term friendship that broke off, and it was her decision. She broke it off, and she was just like, I don't like you anymore. I don't want to be friends with you anymore. And even though I'm like, I totally understand, and like, yeah, we aren't aligned if I really thought about it, it still was her decision. And then I had another relationship kind of where I'm in no contact with them right now, and it was their decision. So everything has been their decision. The narrative that I've been telling is like, oh, God has been taking these relationships away. But I almost immediately know, like, oh yeah, no, that relationship wasn't for me. And then some other peripheral relationships as well. It's like, it's a similar thing where like they're rejecting me in a way, but like as soon as they do, I'm like almost totally okay with it, because I'm like, oh yeah, like they aren't really for me. I totally get it almost immediately. And spiritually speaking, I'm going to speak in Kabbalistic terms right now. The Kabbalists say that when we come to earth, part of our soul's journey is to break through this thing called tikkun, which is our correction. So we're each born with these different aspects of our life that we need to correct. And I know that one of mine, through the bloodline of my mom, is kind of that self-worth piece. Many traumas in that bloodline. I can't get into the details because it's not my story, but it was a very, very difficult, extremely traumatic upbringing. And so bearing the weight of that as her daughter, my mom hates when I talk well about myself. It makes her extremely uncomfortable. She doesn't like it at all. And I know that part of my journey is figuring out self-love on all these levels. So I've embodied several steps of self-love, but I still have a little bit more to go. I feel it. And maybe there's more levels that I don't even know of, because every time I break through one level of self-love, I'm like, I love myself. And then there's just more to go. But I know that that's a part of my soul's journey, is to break through that self-love and self-worth piece. And part of that is by creating wealth and believing that it's possible for me and that I'm worthy and I'm deserving of a luxurious life. My mom was born in a grass hut. So it's my responsibility to say, oh, I'm worth so much more than just what's average, because I have the ability to do it. I could literally have everything, because the creator is the essence of all abundance. How that relates to the relationships is that I would have never broken it off with any of those people because I loved them, but I need to be in a new era. If I'm asking for big abundance, that means that I have to say no to anything less than that. And that is reflected in my relationships. That's how I practice it. It's not saying no to gigs that don't pay me at least 10K or more. That's not what I need to do right now. What I need to do right now is to only allow people in my life who are remarkable in the way that I want to be remarkable. Not saying that they have to be at this certain level of business, but people who, like I've said in my past video, remind me of who I am and genuinely like me and genuinely want me to move forward and can meet my needs where I'm at. I cannot be settling for half-ass love. What I'll never do is be in a toxic relationship. I've actually never been in like a truly toxic relationship before, but I've definitely had half loves. And I've had 3/4 loves. And I think that my last relationship was like a 7/8 love. And I was okay with that. I'm like, 7/8 is pretty good. 7/8 is really good. And it's a lot better than what I see a lot of women settling for. And God was saying, you're asking to be on this energetic plane of abundance, of my cup runneth over. And yet you're settling for 7/8 love. And you're connected to these like 3/4 love, right? You want these like friendships to recognize you when they literally cannot. So what is it? What plane do you want to be on? Do you want to be on my cup runneth over? Or do you want to be on, yeah, 7/8 is good enough? It is not good enough. And I have to be the one to decide. So from now on, instead of being attached to any of these relationships, friendships, business partnerships, family relationships, romantic partnerships, they have to feel like a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 or nothing. And that is how I embody the energy of wealth and abundance, is that everything in my life has to reflect that energy. And relationships is one of the biggest ways I do that. And so I have to be willing to be in a period of loneliness, which I have been, but it's mostly been because those 3/4 relationships don't choose me. And so now I have to take my power back and say, oh, and I'm actually anticipating maybe having these offers from some sort of relationships, not necessarily romantic, that might offer me something that isn't quite 100. Maybe it's even going to be 9/10, and it's going to be so tempting. But I know, and I know now, it feels like literally I'm like, oh, I decided. I'm new, I'm different. After having that breakthrough of like, oh, no, I get it now. That is my correction. My correction is that what it looks like to actually love myself, to actually believe in my self-worth, is to believe that I'm worthy of 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 love in my friendships, 10 out of 10 love in my romantic partnerships, and that is it. If I see that somebody cannot offer me that 10 out of 10 life and they don't fit in that 10 out of life, access denied. It's like if I was sitting at a table and people want to come sit at this table with me, there's a little entry gateway and you have to come in and it's meh, meh, meh. If you're not 10 out of 10, you're denied access. And I have to be okay with letting go of like the almost perfect everything. The almost perfect everything. And I thank God and I thank all those people for leaving who don't actually like me, who aren't actually fully aligned, right? And all those people played such a beautiful role in my life up until this point. But I know that I'm pushing into the next level. And that next level is the 10 out of 10 level. I finally feel like I understand. And now that I have that clarity, yes and no is going to go so fast. It's going to go so much faster. Once you have clarity, it becomes a lot easier. So that's what the energetic alignment is. But getting into energetic alignment it's a little bit of a journey. It's a tough journey and you do have to do actions. But I'm excited for what's to come, honestly. Like I'm excited to see now that I have this clarity, like what's going to happen in my life, in all of my relationships, in all of my friendships, in business, because I know that I will not be settling for anything other than 5 stars. And honestly, if you're seeing this right now, it probably means that you're on that same frequency. Especially if you watch till the end, it means that you're on that frequency and that you get it. So let's connect in my membership, the Spotlight. It is for people who believe that they deserve it all. I deserve it all. I've never been more convinced that I deserve it all. Period. All right. That's all I have to share for today. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye.